It's beginning to look a lot like Christmas. Astaghfirullah, astaghfirullah, astaghfirullah. Hey guys, what's up, and welcome to Real Time, where we are live talking about film and television and everything in between. And I'm your host, Mustafa Talib. And today, we're going to be talking about, as a Muslim, my favorite Christmas movies. Let's check it out. Hey there everybody, Mustafa Talib here with Cinema King Productions. How are y'all doing? I hope y'all are doing well, and I hope y'all are staying safe. Today's episode is obviously surrounding today's commemorable holiday celebrated by millions across the globe. Happy holidays to all y'all who celebrate. And as a Muslim, obviously, we don't celebrate Christmas, but who's to say we can't enjoy the holiday films? And today we'll be talking about my favorite holiday films that I grew up on throughout the years. And there are four in particular, if y'all didn't notice from the thumbnail. But before we get into it, first, I want to say thank y'all so much, again, from the bottom of my heart. Y'all tuning in to Real Time. And it means a lot to me that y'all are subscribing and liking these live streams and sharing them with your friends to, spread the entertainment around and whatnot. So thank y'all so much for doing that. I really do appreciate it. It means the world to me. It's like I've mentioned before, it's been something that I've wanted to do for so long, just as a concept, to do a live show. And we have the tools at our fingertips to do it. So I took that plunge and decided to start the show Real Time. And here we are, concluding season 3. And alhamdulillah, we've grown so much in terms of subscribers. I don't think we're going to make the 1,000 mark like I had hoped, but that is perfectly okay. Because inshallah, next year, we'll hit the 1,000 mark. Bi'idhnillah. So thank y'all so much for tuning in, and thank y'all for checking that out. Sorry, I'm having some problems. There we are. We're good. We're all right. Just a good old typical day here on Real Time, running into some technical difficulties. Oh, these are so good. So good. But anyway, let me know what y'all's favorite Christmas movie or holiday movie is in the live chat or in the comments down below. I'd love to hear it and get y'all's thoughts on that. So these movies that I have are in a particular order, from my least favorite to my most favorite. And so kicking us off at my number 4 holiday movie of all time, my favorite, I should say, right? This is and the thing is, like, it was so long since I have watched this movie, but I still remember it as a kid watching this, starring, man, the great Arnold Schwarzenegger and the young kid who played Anakin Skywalker in Star Wars Episode 1, Phantom Menace, Jake Lloyd, and also co-starring Sinbad and Phil Hartman from SNL. So it was such a funny movie, and I'm talking about Jingle All the Way. Such a great and funny movie. Such a kids and typical 90s movie. Released in 1996, just in time for the holidays. It was released in November 16th, 1996. And I found it very interesting in Arnold Schwarzenegger's career as an actor. Ever since his bodybuilding days and a little bit after that, he's always been in that role of being the macho guy, muscles, and, the hero and all those things. But I remember he was trying to shift gears to being an actual actor, playing different roles that not necessarily were suited or are suited for him, but to show his range as an actor. And so in this role in particular, he wasn't all muscles and everything, but he was still a father figure, a rather disappointing father figure. And he's trying to prove his worthiness to his son and then as a husband to his wife. Such a great movie, such a great and funny, kid family movie. Obviously a little exaggerated, but nonetheless, still a very fun movie to watch. One of my personal favorites. It's funny to see, the story unfold that, he's a workaholic type of father, neglecting his son, always breaking promises, things like that. And then here comes his chance to prove himself to himself and to his family, and most importantly to his son, that he is the father that he needs to be for him. And that message in there is beautiful. And all through, he went through so many hurdles to get the action figure that his son wanted for Christmas, which was Turbo Man. And through a series of events, he made it happen. So definitely give it a watch. One of my favorites, definitely. How are y'all doing? Y'all doing all right? Y'all having a good time? I know I am. I mean, today was, for Muslims, Christmas is kind of a boring day just because everything is closed except for the movie theaters and Chinese restaurants. But of course, during COVID, added more boredom to the mix. We still made do. Had Jumu'ah today. We went to Friday prayer. It was great. Had lunch afterwards to some Muslim-owned restaurants. But then what else is there to do, man? There's nothing else left to do. Comment down below what y'all do for Christmas Day. And I'm not talking about actually engaging in Christmas activities, fellow Muslims. This is actually something that's been bothering me, or has been bothering me recently. I've been noticing on social media and the like that a lot of Muslim families are engaging in Christmas traditions and practices, and it's kind of sad because that's not our religious holiday. And it's like, oh, it's not a religious holiday anymore. Well, it is, because it's associated with, the Christian faith. And so, there's some funny TikToks out there. There's that one family, the father's basically taking a selfie video, and he's kind of revealing that I brought up these kids to be Muslims, and they're putting up a tree. And then in the same shot, you see next to them, the Kaaba, which is, the holy site in Mecca, in Saudi Arabia for Muslims, right? One of the holy mosques. And it's so confusing. And then you have other celebrity Muslims who are also engaging in the holiday as well. And it's just that's not, we're supposed to be doing that. We're not supposed to be celebrating that. It's not our holiday. No disrespect to, our fellow brethren in faith, our Christians, but we don't celebrate that. But anyway, I digress. This is about movies. We're here to talk about my favorite Christmas movies. So let's carry on. The next movie, and y'all can debate about this in the comments, but my second, or rather coming in at number 3, favorite Christmas movie of all time is Die Hard, with Bruce Willis as John McClane. The action-packed film from 1988. What an incredible movie. And I only call it a Christmas movie because it is happening during Christmas time. The story takes place where John McClane, who is a cop, undercover cop, rather, and he's just so happens to be in the whatchamacallit, in the area trying to visit his wife where she works in Los Angeles, and the building gets taken over by some German terrorists, led by Alan Rickman, also known as Hans. A fantastic film, classic, easily a classic. Jake Peralta from Brooklyn Nine-Nine's favorite films of all time, Die Hard. And I remember they had the recreation of it in one of the intros to the show. So funny, amazing, and hilarious. But the movie is based off the novel, this 1979 novel, Nothing Lasts Forever by Frederick Thropp. Die Hard follows New York City police detective John McClane, who is caught up in a terrorist takeover of a Los Angeles skyscraper while visiting his estranged wife. So good, so amazing. God, such good story. I mean, I might do this in the future, an episode of Real Time where I compare, or best films based off of novels, and you'll be surprised how many movies are based off novels that you didn't know. So let me know if y'all are interested in that. Let me know in the comments down below. And while you're there, and if you haven't already, subscribe to the channel and give this live stream a thumbs up. I'd greatly appreciate it. I did mention yesterday that Die Hard was, an honorable mention in the trilogies, but it did exceed that by a bit. Die Hard 2, Die Hard with a Vengeance, Live Free or Die Hard, and A Good Day to Die Hard. I'm talking about 5 movies. Too much. They just milking it. Of course, bringing Bruce Willis back to reprise his role. And this actually launched Bruce Willis into the action genre of film, because originally he, from what I understand, is that he was in television before as an actor, and he did, I think, more comedy, right? Not necessarily action, but then this was like his first debut as an action star or character, and then he blew up to become the action star that we know now, and he just has that grit and that look of, just somebody that you don't want to cross, and he just has that natural charisma of, being John McClane, and so good, so rich of a character, and displaying that. Fun fact, I'm sure maybe some of y'all know this, but at the very end of the movie, when Hans falls to his death, the way they filmed that scene, they were gonna count off to 3, so Alan Rickman could prepare himself for the fall, right? Of course, he's landing on some mats, so it's safe, but still, to get a genuine reaction, and of course they shot this in high speed frame rates, so that way they can slow it down for slow motion. Instead of releasing the cable or the door or whatever it was on 3, they did it on 1. So they said 1 release, and then you see Alan's genuine reaction falling down in high speed, super slow motion. That's his real reaction, and I believe that's the one. I think they only did that maybe once or twice, and they used the first take because it was so good and it was so original. His reaction was so genuine and terrified, which is what the director wanted when you're falling from a very high point of a building to your death, right? Very high stakes, and it was on the edge of your seat, explosive, amazing, and it kicked off the franchise, and it did pretty well for itself. And then towards the last 2 films, number 4 and number 5, they were just really milking it out because they were running out of ideas again, Hollywood. But yeah, Die Hard, fantastic film, action-packed, amazing humor and comedy. So funny and hysterical. Definitely go check it out if you have not watched that. Thank you for reminding me, sir, my dear brother, in the live chat. Of course, the famous saying from Die Hard, which is actually taken from another cowboy, I think, TV series, but he made it his own version. Yippee-ki-yay, la 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 la. I'm not going to say it, but you know what he says. Good stuff. Great, great stuff. And for those who don't know, Alan Rickman is Professor Snape from Harry Potter. Turn to page 394. That guy. Let me get some agua in here. Hans Gruber was the hero of the story. He literally died hard. He did. Yes, he did indeed. So that is number 3 on my list. Coming in at number 2. This is an instant classic, and I don't know why they did a remake of this movie in complete 3D animation. Just another take on the story, I guess. But I'm talking about Dr. Seuss's How the Grinch Stole Christmas from the year 2000 with the legendary Jim Carrey. And I gotta say that nobody, listen, okay? Listen carefully. Nobody can be the Grinch except Jim Carrey. Because through all his movies in the early 90s, led up to him being the only actor who could be the Grinch in a live-action rendition of the film. Because you have characters like Ace Ventura, you had characters like Lloyd Christmas in Dumb and Dumber, you had Larry the Cable Guy, you had who else? I mean, just a combination of those characters alone give you the Grinch, right, as a character, and it's so good, so good. His expression, actually, from what I understand and what I read, is that he was so frustrated with the makeup process. Initially, it took him 8 hours. Can you imagine 8 hours sitting in a chair and having makeup put on you for your film for the day? He got so frustrated, he was about to quit the movie because of how painstaking it was just to sit for 8 hours straight to put on makeup for the film. And from what I also read is that it was yak, a fur that was dyed green, and then of course on top of that the prosthetics, to make him look like a Who. What he had to do, or rather what the production team did, was bring in a CIA specialist to train him to walk, to bear the quote-unquote torment of it, like they would for like informants or whatever. And then what production ended up doing is cutting down the time from 8 hours to 2 hours for the makeup drill. And man, could you imagine not having the Grinch with Jim Carrey in it? It wouldn't make sense. It would not happen. Of course, it was a remake of the cartoon from back in the day, but to see it come to life in a tangible way, not just 3D animated, but like having the set and all that stuff, it was just such a funny, hysterical film, and just only Jim Carrey could do it. Just bringing his energy, being a real-life cartoon. That's what it is. And that was just so magical to come to life on screen. The entire world being built. the storytelling, Ron Howard's direction of it was fantastic and hilarious. A lot of jokes in there that I did not get as a kid, that I got as an adult, and I'm like, whoa, they let that slide in there. For example, when his parents, right, the two ladies that raised the Grinch, were talking about, how babies came, they would float down from the sky, and then one baby landed in front of one house, and a dad came out, putting out the milk or something, and he looks and he goes, "Honey, our baby's here." And then he says, "He looks just like your boss." What are you implying there, bro? What are you implying? It is so messed up, but it's also funny. But yeah, I love this movie so much. Every year around this time, I'll end up watching it just for the animatics of Jim Carrey's performance, right? His prosthetics had to be so flexible to express the same way Jim Carrey does with his face. I mean, he's just a master. He's just a master of impersonations. If you search on YouTube or just Google Jim Carrey impersonations, and you see his different routines that he's done through the years, and he dead on impersonates his famous Clint Eastwood, Jack Nicholson, and so many other characters, right? But just having that flexibility in his face to mold it, the prosthetics that he had to put on had to conform to that flexibility, and only he was can be as expressive for the Grinch. And man, so funny. And then of course the very end when he becomes a good guy, and his heart has grown. It's so funny. You see different characters in the Grinch. You hear the laugh of of Ace Ventura in the Grinch. Suffering, snorkel blast, they're relentless. All that stuff. It's so funny. Loved it. I love it so much. Just a classic Christmas movie I have to watch every year. One of my absolutely top favorite. Aardvarkin Ebenezer who? I hate you. Aaron B. Benson who? I hate you. Hate, 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 double hate. Loathe entirely. Abdurrahman, you are absolutely right. One of his other impersonations that Jim Carrey does is Michael Landon smiling. Oh my God, it is so good. It's so funny. And it's exactly what he would do if when he laughed. And that's just the genius of Jim Carrey, bringing that comedy, making people laugh. He had an old stand-up where he even impersonated the Muppets. Can you imagine, you are such a character of yourself that you can impersonate other characters and that are made up, and you look like them and you talk like them? It's so good. It's amazing. And that is talent right there. When you recognize talent, you have to support it, you have to appreciate it. And the way you appreciate it is by supporting it and collaborating with it. But yeah, that is my number 2 on the list, How the Grinch Stole Christmas. And of course, I have to quickly mention Anthony Hopkins as the narrator. Spot on. A great cast altogether, but Anthony Hopkins as the narrator with his eloquence, I should say, and Jim Carrey at the helm as the Grinch. Just a great movie to watch. Great film. And that leaves my number 1 Christmas movie, a Muslim's favorite Christmas movie of all time. And that is, drum roll please. I don't know if y'all are giving a drum roll or not, but you know what? Y'all should give yourselves a round of applause. That's right. give me a second, sorry. I know y'all didn't come to this live stream watching me eat and wish-wash water around my mouth. Apologies for that. But yes, my number one Christmas movie of all time is Home Alone 2, Lost in New York, with Kevin McCulkin, Joe Pesci, and Daniel Stern. Also featuring Tim Curry, Rob Schneider, Brenda Fricker, and Catherine O'Hare. Yes, my favorite movie of all time. Now, is it exactly the same plot as the first one? Maybe. But is it so much better in the second one? Absolutely. And it's because of the extension of the cast, right? You have more characters that are introduced, and they are just the dynamic between all these characters is just hilarious. The spewing that they have with each other, the way they just naturally, it's not forced. It just comes naturally with everybody. Oh God, this one is just, we grew up watching this over and over and over again, and I did not know until recently that the movies that Kevin watches in the film, the guy with the Tommy gun in both the first and the second one, were made up for the film. They were not actual movies. They were made up films for the movie. But for so long we were like, oh my God, this is such a good noir film, gangster movie that he's watching. What? It was made up. It was made up, and it was done so well. And then, of course, you would think as a kid, like, oh, they were really clever and, using these movies, and then certain dialogue, and then it would respond with the other, characters in the movie interacting with the TV. Like in the first one, it was about, the pizza guy, and then the second one, it's the concierge interacting with the movie. And that scene by itself was hilarious. Get down on your knees and tell me you love me. On our knees. I love you. You better do better than that. I love you. Oh my God. That whole spiel won it for me for the movie. It was just amazing. And of course, on top of that, the scheming that Kevin does, right, to get rid of, to defeat the bad guys, Marv and Harry. Oh man. Every single prank. There's so many videos out there, but we all know if those incidences happened in real life, they would not survive. Who sticks their head that's caught on fire in a toilet bowl that is filled with flammable liquid and explodes, and they still survive? Who gets thrown 4 or 5 bricks to the face from the roof of a building and still survives? Who gets electrically shocked to the point where their bones show because they're being executed so hard that they survive? Who survives 100-pound bag of flour from 3 stories up tied to a rope? Who gets banged up so much with cans of paint and a tube of I don't know what that rod was. God, all the pain that these guys went through, they would have easily died. Exactly. Thank you. He killed them like 27 times. It's so funny. So funny. Fun fact, actually. with Joe Pesci's character, Harry. He was just coming off. I mean, the first film I think was in 1990. Home Alone 2 came out in 1992. And the first one was 1990. And man, whatchamacallit? Sorry, I'm losing my train of thought. But yeah, Joe Pesci just came off of doing like Goodfellas and, got all these Martin Scorsese films, just sailor mouth left and right. And so then he comes on to do this movie because he is perfect for the role. The tool chest. Oh my God. We'll get to that. We'll get to the tool chest part. But Joe Pesci's character, Harry, he's just coming off of doing all these, adult movies, right? Rated R films, sailor mouthing left and right. And then he comes to do this film because he is the perfect role. And then he obviously cannot curse because this is a family movie. This is a kid's movie. So what's he supposed to say instead of those filthy words? And that's where he innovatively came up with the phrases, fudger, 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 fudger. And it's just genius, iconic, right? If you want to curse but you can't, say fudger, 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 fudger instead. Amazing. Marv, what a character. What a cartoon in real life. I mean, just slipping left and right. I remember as a kid pretending going up the stairs like Marv did after he was knocked over so many times with bricks. Just skipping, or not skipping, but crossing his legs over because he's just so confused, and then opens the doorknob, and then there's the staple gun attached to the other side. The way they edit it, the way the sound is, the way they show it, just makes it so comedy gold. Just love it. Obviously, they would not survive that. You get shot in the face with a staple gun? Are you kidding me? You would die. But man, so funny. So good. And then comes the tool chest where they're both about to go up. They follow Kevin, and then they pull on the knob, and it's just a bunch of string. And then they pull more, and then it's attached to this tool chest coming down. And they're just stupid, just sitting there like after hearing all this coming down the stairs, and they're just like, what? And they just listen for it, and it's just getting louder and louder. Yeah, any idiot would know to just move out of the way. No, they just stand there and they're just like, and then, and then they get hit into the wall, and then they push it off. That was the sound of a tool chest falling down the stairs. Oh. Breaking their nose. Oh, the hole. After Marv gets up from being stapled or shot with the staple gun, breaks the door open, busts it down, looks around, and he says, Harry, I've reached the top. Takes one step forward and falls. And then he gets up slowly, moves his neck around, cracks all around. And then after that, when it cuts back from Harry running into his dilemma, then Marv gets up and then he looks up and he goes, wow, what a hole. Imagine falling 3 stories face first into the ground. So good. So funny. God, I need to watch it again. Oh, man. Again, thank you all so much for tuning into Real Time. I greatly do appreciate it. I love coming on here, talking about movies and filmmaking, production, anything in between, television, like the tagline is, right? I really appreciate y'all coming in or tuning in and liking these live streams and subscribing to the channel. I do have a lot of ideas coming for season 4 of Real Time, and on top of that, other projects that I'm secretly working on that y'all will see in the future, inshallah. So make sure you are subscribed to the channel and turn on that post notification bell as well, so y'all know when the next videos do come out. I really do appreciate it. Alhamdulillah. But yes, Home Alone 2, Lost in New York. My only problem with it is that they featured Donald J. Trump. Yuck. Ew. Disgusting. Other than that, it's good. But because they feature him, it's just like, eh. They had to get permission from him because he owned the Plaza Hotel to film in the Plaza Hotel. They had to get permission to film in there. A very popular device, gadget, that was featured, and I remember my oldest brother having it, was the Tommy Boy, the cassette audio recorder with a built-in extendable microphone. I think he still has it, if I'm not mistaken, but a cool device. Pretty innovative. Instead of carrying something that's bulky, it's just in the palm of your hand. And it's because of that Kevin got lost and he went to New York instead of going to Florida for Christmas with his family like he said he would. Stupid gadget toys. I'm just kidding, guys. What else can I say? Except you're welcome. I'm just kidding. I don't like that song. But yeah, I loved Home Alone 2. And then following that, How the Grinch Stole Christmas. And then Die Hard and Jingle All the Way. These are my favorite Christmas movies of all time. As a Muslim, I don't celebrate Christmas. Muslims aren't supposed to celebrate Christmas. But who says we can't enjoy the movies that surround the holiday? These are my favorite that I grew up on, and I hope y'all do too if y'all ever check them out. With that, I'm going to go ahead and end this last episode of Real Time, where we are live talking about film and television and everything in between. This is your host, Mustafa Talib with Cinema King Productions, and I will see y'all in the next one. But before y'all go, don't forget to like this live stream and subscribe. And make sure you hit that post notification down below. And I will see y'all next time in season 4. Assalamu alaikum. Take care. Peace.